Let me tell you something that will set you free. Not everyone deserves a seat at your table. Some people don't deserve closure. They don't deserve a second chance. They don't even deserve a text back. All they deserve is distance, quiet, and the silence of your growth echoing in the background of their regret. You owe no explanation for evolving, for healing, for putting yourself first. Let them wonder, let them gossip, let them scroll through your life, trying to figure out where they lost access. Because the truth is, your peace doesn't require their permission. You were not born to keep proving your worth to people who can't even see it. So take the crown off their head and put it back where it belongs, on yours. You don't owe closure to chaos. Let that truth sink in, because we live in a world where we're taught to explain ourselves constantly. Why we walked away, why we stopped talking, why we changed. But here's the harsh and liberating truth. Not everyone deserves an explanation, especially not the people who created the very mess you're trying to heal from. Think about it. You wouldn't return to a fire and ask it why it burned you. You wouldn't go back to the storm and ask it to explain the thunder. So why do you feel the need to sit down with someone who disrespected you, betrayed you, lied to you, and give them the privilege of hearing your heart explain itself? That's not closure, that's emotional labor. And you are not a rehabilitation center for people who break others and call it love. Take a moment and recall that friend who disappeared when you needed them most. They ghosted you in your darkest hour, and when you started glowing again, they showed up curious, not caring. Curious about your strength, not your scars. And you thought you owed them a coffee conversation, or what happened between us. Closure chat. But why? So they can sleep peacefully while you reopen the wounds you worked so hard to close? No. Your peace isn't a gift you hand out to the people who shattered it. Or let's talk about relationships. The ones where you gave your all, but your all was never enough. The ones where you were constantly proving your worth, fighting for the bare minimum, begging for communication. And the day you finally chose yourself over the endless cycles of manipulation and emotional games, they suddenly wanted to talk. Not because they changed, but because they lost control. And now you feel guilty not answering that text, that call, that let's talk one last time message. Let me tell you something. If they didn't value your presence, they do not deserve the dignity of your explanation. Closure is something you give yourself. It's not a door they open for you. It's a door you slam shut, lock and walk away from. And walking away doesn't make you heartless, it makes you healed. It means your soul finally chose peace over performance. It means you understood that not everyone is entitled to the next chapter of your story. Let's bring it into daily life. Imagine standing in a long line at a store, waiting patiently, when someone cuts right in front of you. Do you waste your time explaining to them how unfair that was, hoping they see your side? Or do you step aside, get what you need, and walk away knowing your dignity isn't up for negotiation? Exactly. You don't debate with chaos. You remove yourself from it. And maybe you're that person who's always overthinking. What if they're struggling too? What if I hurt them by leaving? What if they don't understand? But ask yourself this. Did they think about your pain when they left you in confusion? Did they consider your peace when they played with your emotions? Or did they take your loyalty for granted until it broke? Closure is not a roundtable discussion with someone who handed you pain and called it love. It's not a TED talk. explaining why you finally had enough. Closure is found in your silence, your growth, your boundaries. It's in the life you build when you finally choose to stop bleeding for people who never offered you a bandage. You don't owe closure to chaos. You owe yourself freedom, clarity, and the courage to move forward without dragging old explanations behind you like chains. Because the most powerful thing you can ever say is nothing. Just distance. Distance is a language. Speak it fluently. It's the language of self-respect, self-protection, and silent strength. And the most beautiful part? It doesn't scream, it doesn't beg, it doesn't explain, it simply speaks. Through absence, through growth, through evolution that happens out of reach from those who once held too much access to your soul. We're always taught to talk things out, to be available, to keep relationships from breaking, but no one teaches us the power of walking away, of going quiet, of putting space between our heart and the source of its wounds. But hear this loud and clear. Sometimes, silence is more powerful than 1,000 perfectly crafted words. Sometimes your absence is the most honest sentence you can ever speak. Imagine you're in a room full of noise, chaotic, overwhelming, drowning in sounds. You try to speak, to explain yourself, to be heard, but your voice is lost in the storm. Then you step out, you close the door, and suddenly, clarity. The noise isn't gone, but it's not yours to carry anymore. That's what distance does. It gives you back your peace. It gives you back you. You don't need to shout to be respected. You don't need to chase someone to prove your worth. The ones who genuinely value you will feel the weight of your silence more than they ever felt the sound of your voice. Let's talk about that coworker who constantly undermines your efforts. You've tried addressing it, staying professional, being the bigger person, but the energy remains toxic. So instead of confronting them endlessly, you take a step back. You limit interactions. You stop reacting, and suddenly they're uncomfortable, not because you were loud, but because your silence disrupted their pattern. That's fluent distance. That's strategic energy protection. Think about that old friend who always made jokes at your expense, who laughed when you cried, who clapped the loudest when you failed, but went quiet when you succeeded. And you kept them close, thinking history mattered more than harmony. But one day, you stopped picking up their calls, you stopped explaining your moves, you stopped seeking their approval. And that space you created, it didn't just protect you, it educated them. Because people often learn your value in your absence, not your presence. In love, it's even deeper. You give someone your vulnerability, your loyalty, your time, and they play games. They ghost, breadcrumb, manipulate. But instead of begging for clarity, instead of fighting for attention, you disappear, not as a game, as a declaration that your heart is not a playground, that you are no longer willing to dance for the bare minimum. It's you choosing peace over performance, healing over noise, growth over chaos. Let's take a simple daily example. You go to your favorite cafe. The barista gets your order wrong. Every single time. You've complained. You've tried being kind. Nothing changes. So one day, you stop going. You find a new place that respects your time, your preference. That's not being rude. That's choosing better. And better is always your right. This is the art of distance. It's you whispering, "No more," without even moving your lips. It's letting people feel your absence like an earthquake they never saw coming. It's not revenge. It's revelation. You don't need to justify why you stopped calling, why you stopped showing up, why you stopped trying. The distance is the explanation. It's the sentence, it's the answer, and it's always fluent. Protect your energy like royalty, because not everyone deserves access to your presence, your peace, or your power. You are not common. Your time, your love, your mind, it's a kingdom. And not everyone deserves a throne inside your life. When you stop treating yourself like an open door, you start realizing who truly deserves a key. Royalty doesn't explain why they close the gates. They don't beg people to stay inside the palace. They don't chase after those who disrespect the crown. And neither should you. Your energy is sacred. Your spirit is powerful. If someone consistently drains it, depletes it, questions it, then it's time to create boundaries that feel like velvet rope. Let them stand outside and wonder. That's not pride, that's protection. Think about this. You charge your phone every single day. If your battery is low, you don't hand it out to just anyone. You don't let someone open 50 apps on it while it's at 5%. You protect it because it's essential. But your soul, your energy, you let people use it without question. The friend who constantly complains but never listens. The relative who only calls to compare or criticize. The partner who pulls you into chaos and calls it passion. Why do they get unlimited access to your spirit? You wouldn't hand your crown to a thief. Don't hand your peace to chaos. There are people who will come into your life not to grow with you, but to feed off you. Emotional leeches, drama addicts, masters of manipulation, disguised as victims. And you, with your big heart, keep pouring attention, pouring advice, pouring love, until you're empty and they're still hungry. That's not connection, that's consumption. Let's bring it into daily life. Ever sat on a phone call for an hour with someone who talks endlessly about themselves, but the moment you speak they interrupt or suddenly have to go? That's not friendship. That's emotional robbery. And you keep paying the price. Or at work, there's always that co-worker who dumps their tasks on you, knowing you'll say yes. They play helpless. But it's not that they can't. It's that you always do. And slowly your own projects suffer. Your mental health declines, and they shine while you burn. Protect your energy. Say no without guilt. Say yes only when it's aligned. Because saying yes to everything is saying no to your own peace. In love, the same law applies. Protecting your energy is romantic. It's sexy. It's powerful. You don't have to overextend to prove you care. You don't have to lose sleep, dignity, or direction for someone who hasn't even earned your truth. Love isn't supposed to exhaust you. If you're constantly in recovery mode after each interaction, then your energy is under attack. And your silence, your boundaries, your space, that becomes your shield. Royalty doesn't attend every argument they're invited to. They don't respond to every insult. They don't walk into every room where they feel unwelcome. They walk where they are celebrated, not tolerated. Do the same. Protect your energy like you protect your dreams. Because without energy, you can't build, can't rise, can't evolve. The right people will honor your space, not question it. They'll water you, not drain you. They'll add peace, not problems.